Hey, thanks so much for listening to the Ridge Community Church podcast. My name is John. I'm one of the pastors on staff at the Ridge, and our vision is to bring the hope of Jesus into every home. So as a piece of that, our goal each week is to bring you something that's hopeful and helpful. So subscribe to this podcast to make sure you don't miss any hopeful and helpful conversations. Hey everyone, and thanks for listening to this episode of the Ridge Community Church podcast. If you find today's episode hopeful and helpful, then please follow or subscribe, and then rate and review this podcast so that more people can find the conversation. Today, I want to share with all of you a conversation that I had with the Oak Creek Franklin campus pastor at the Ridge, Forrest Anderson. During the course of the pandemic, we closed our Oak Creek campus location with the idea that when the time was right, we would relaunch that campus. Well, this October, we are launching the Oak Creek Franklin campus, and we're really excited about it. And this seemed like a great time to have a conversation about why we believe that there should be new churches and campuses, what they can bring to a community, and of course, I had to ask Forrest what he's grilling this summer. This is my conversation with Forrest. Well, hey, Forrest, thanks for coming back on the podcast.
What's up, dude? It's an honor. Yeah, it's an honor to be here with you.
I mean, every time you come on, I have to ask you a food question. I think that's actually written in the rules of the podcast. So it's summer, man. Summer's grilling time. Tell me what your favorite thing to grill is.
Yeah, as I think anytime you ask me a food question, it's a complicated answer. And here's the reason why, man. Here's the reason why, because like I've been playing with some new tools when it comes to grilling, and so kind of as I get new tools and as I experiment more, I think my I don't know, like what I'm into at that moment of time kind of changes. So for me, there's two new tools I'm playing with this summer, and one of them is a smoker, and then one of them is a Blackstone. One of my good buddies got a Blackstone, and so we've been spending a lot of time outside doing smash burgers. So smash burgers, are what we've really been jamming on lately when it comes to like this Blackstone, because you can just make fatty, rich, just decadent kind of meat when, crispy, but yet still just full of butter, smash burgers. So jamming on that for like family and just bringing a bunch of people over. And then the other thing was on my smoker, I've been playing with roasting half chickens. So I buy whole chickens, cut them up, season them up really well, and then kind of smoke them, at, like a middle temperature for a couple hours, and just been jamming on that. So those are two of the things that we've been doing a lot of outside cooking with this summer.
Dude, you just made it so obvious how little I know apparently about grilling. I was like, I feel like I could talk a little bit about grilling. And then you hit me with like Blackstone. And I'm like, is that a brand? Is that like literally the name of it? Like, I have no idea what a Blackstone grill is.
So Blackstone is like, if you take, it kind of depends on, like in Latin communities, they kind of call it a plancha or a cast iron griddle. And so Blackstone is a brand, and they're just making these just huge, flat top griddles.
Gotcha.
You're cooking it on a flat top, really high temperature, really hot. And so it's great for like searing things. And so like for just fatty, juicy, buttery, like meat. Awesome.
What's a smash burger? Is that like just
so like smash burgers? Yeah. So you take burger meat, and you take what we call like burger juice or meat juice. We make a meat juice with like a lot of butter, Worcestershire, soy, salt, garlic, and then we add it to the meat mixture. And so we just make like a really kind of fatty, you're basically just injecting a bunch more fat into the meat, into the, ground beef. And so we take that, and then we take butter and throw it on the griddle, and then put the burger on kind of like in a meatball. And then once it starts to sear a little bit, you smash it down. And so you get like just the seared kind of burger on both sides. Like if you on the West Coast, where are you guys at? What's the big burger joint out that way? The one that you do animal style at?
Oh, In-N-Out.
In-N-Out burger. Like In-N-Out burger is kind of a smash burger.
Okay.
Yeah. Real crispy, thin, really buttery kind of flavored burger.
Dude,
they're great.
Recording this during lunchtime was a tremendous mistake. Because I'm hearing that, I'm like, oh, that sounds so good. My arteries are hurting, but my stomach is very interested in a smash burger. I'll have to look that up.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Okay. But hey, transitioning a little bit. All right. No smooth transition from a smash burger,
No.
But we're just going to go for it. So Oak Creek Franklin new church campus is launching this October. So I'd love to dive into a little bit of the heart of that conversation, and what's the heart, what's the purpose of that, and maybe we can just start like really high up, 3,000 foot level. And why do we need more churches? I know that if you drive through lots of places, you'll see them all over the place. Some of them full, some of them less than full. But why do we need new ones?
Yeah, that's a great question, dude. I think it really comes down to, first of all, our heart and our belief that an amazing, vibrant local church, man, is the heartbeat of the world. And that's what changes the world. And we know that right now that we're living in a society, especially here in the Milwaukee area, where it's a very low church attendance rate. So even though you see like churches as a part of the landscape, and especially I know here in Wisconsin, like the church steeple, man, is like the center of a lot of communities. When you're driving around, it's a part of our landscape. It's a part of who we are. And those are predominantly these denominational driven churches that really have, less than 100 people attending them. Right. So I think it's about something like 65% of the churches in our community have less than 100 people attending them. So they're not these vibrant, great local churches. They're predominantly these denominational churches that are full of an older generation of people. And we think that if we're going to change the landscape of our community, like if we're going to allow Jesus and God to change the hearts of the people in our community, we need to get them into a vibrant local church. And so that's what we need more of. We need more local churches in our community. We know that churches themselves are closing at an alarming rate, especially since the pandemic has hit. And we know that we didn't have enough churches in the first place to get 100% of the people that are in our communities into a church. And so we just need more churches, period. And so for us, it's just, man, it's a way that we're going to change the world and allow God to do that is through a vibrant local church. And we just need more of them.
Did you keep on saying the word vibrant? Love that word. What does that mean to you? What does it mean for a church to be vibrant?
Yeah, for us, it's the church itself is not about just like a building, right? So it's not about just this big, beautiful building that's sitting there that everybody comes to. For us, a vibrant local church is a group of people who are committed to serving the people in their community and helping them understand the hope of Jesus in their life. And by serving, I mean that they're there to help them and walk side by side with them in life, to help them go through, the pains that they're feeling, the struggles that they're feeling, but also help them in the times where they get to celebrate together and just be there for each other. I think we've come to a country, especially that relies on the government to help each other out versus back, in the biblical times, the things that the people that were there to help each other when, somebody died, when, somebody was out of a job, when somebody needed help, they would go to each other. They would go to the church body, the people of the church to help each other, pick each other up instead of just relying, on the government to do that now. And so I think we need to do, that's what a vibrant local church looks like to me, where it's serving the needs of the community together and doing it out of just this heart that we love each other because God loves us. And so we're here to serve each other no matter who you are or what you're going through or what you're struggling with. Man, we are here to serve each other and help each other get through whatever we're feeling, whatever we're going through, because we love you, because God loves you.
When you talk about impacting a community, and that has that written all over it, right? Like your heartbeat is not to have people come and attend a service. Your heartbeat is no, we don't want just a bunch of attenders. We want people that are making a difference in this community. And it's really interesting. You talk about how there's now like more government. I don't want to say reliance on government. That's like a weird way to say that, but a little bit so that's like previously you might go to the church, and we still see that in areas where the government doesn't provide anything, right? Like the government's not going to provide somebody to share at your celebration of life service. And so do you think the part of it is part of impacting that community is like kind of moving back into that realm where there's areas where you kind of take back over from certain things maybe the government's doing, like, or is it partnering with, I don't know exactly what I'm asking here.
No, what I think it is, it's just like, how are we looking out for each other? How are we loving our neighbor? Right? If you look at God's commandments to us, Jesus's commandment to us to love God and then to love our neighbor. right? He said that they're both equal, that they're both 100% of what we should be doing. And so how are we loving our neighbor? And loving our neighbor is truly just understanding how much God loves them and that God wants the best for them, right? God created this world, this amazing world for us to enjoy and then to support each other. And he wants the best for every single person that walks this planet. So how do we be his hands and feet and do that for each other? And I think that's what it's about. It's just purely loving each other with this heart that says, man, I love you because I know how much God loves you. And so I'm going to serve whatever you in whatever way that is that you need at that moment in time. So I think it's like a movement of people. Our vision at our church is to bring the hope of Jesus into every home, not to produce a building that says, hey, come to us and hopefully we transform you into a Christian. No, it's about how are we making a movement of people in our community, in our world, serving each other and loving each other so that the people that don't know Jesus yet get that hope in their house.
Yeah. And talk about, that truly shows like the heart of transformation and the heart of agenda-free loving. And two, that requires listening and getting to know and figuring out, hey, what are the needs in that specific community? There's obviously pros and cons to older churches, newer churches. How do you think that maybe new churches are uniquely gifted to impact a community?
Well, I think we know that statistically speaking, newer churches and campuses, right, they reach a higher percentage of people that don't go to church. I think when you think of something new, something exciting, that they're willing to try that versus I've been there, done that. That's a mentality I think a lot of people have when they think of your traditional church in your neighborhood. Oh, that's the one that my mom went to or my grandparents went to, or, the one that I grew up in and I've been there and, I just don't feel it. So they see something that's new, that's exciting. Especially if they've got a vibrant community of people that are walking life a little bit differently. And they're like, hey, they kind of walk life like the way that I want to do. They're walking around happy and joyful with this hope in their heart that says, I know that like life isn't perfect. And I know that our world isn't perfect and our community is not perfect, but you know what? I'm going to still live with this joy because I've got the hope of what's going to come. And, I think when they see that, people who aren't a part of a church get excited and say, okay, I'll give it a shot again. And they try it.
Do you think it makes it easier do you think inviting somebody to a new church is easier than maybe an older church?
Yeah. Oh, 100% sure. Absolutely. Again, I think because they might already have this assumption of what happens in a different church versus, hey, this personal invite from somebody saying, hey, we're new, we're doing things a little bit differently maybe than you've ever seen before. So come with me and check it out. I know that, the number one reason that a person is going to walk into a church is by a personal invite. Like right. That's, you can market as much as you can, but literally that personal invite is what's going to get more people to walk through the doors of the church. But again, it's after they begin to develop a trust with you and, you develop a relationship with them and help them and serve them. And it's not about wanting them to do something. It's about wanting something for them. Right. And you come at them that way. I think, I think new churches and campuses can reach people at that higher level because of that.
So previously we had launched an Oak Creek campus previously. If you think back to that experience and the people that were coming and was that like what we're talking about here, did that happen there? Was that happening there?
Oh yeah. Big time. We love that location. We love the location where we're going to now because it's this regional location where we're going to reach a community of people that we're not necessarily reaching to right here. And so we were able to do that the first time. People were walking through our doors that never experienced the Ridge, they haven't experienced churches for years. And it was amazing to see. And a lot of those people now are going to be part of our team again. So it's cool to think about, okay, we are now creating another campus that you get to do for somebody else what somebody did for you. And it's cool to see them buy in because they know how much the first campus meant to them because they weren't a part of a church and their life has now changed because of what happened at Oak Creek the first time. And now they get to be a part of, okay, now I get to do this for people that I love in my community. And so that's cool.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah. So catch everybody up. So the Oak Creek Franklin campus has a launch team that is getting ready to be sent to plant at Forest Ridge Elementary, which, wow,
Yeah,
way to pick Forest Ridge Elementary. And so what you're telling me is that people that were invited to the previous Oak Creek campus, that were invested in, that their life was impacted, they had that hope of Jesus in their life and their family, are now like, you know what? I need to be a part of this launch team because I want to impact others. That's happening.
Yep. Oh yeah. There's quite a few stories of people like that. And I just think it's amazing to see, because there's just like, for instance, there's this one couple that was invited to start coming to the Ridge, and they came because their kids started coming. And so the mom and dad started coming to drop off their kids. And then they started coming into services. And at the point that they're walking through the door of that church, they're going through a divorce. And then God worked in them through our church services, through being a part of Alpha and some small groups that we were doing at the time. And their marriage was saved in that church. And so now I was just meeting with them a couple of weeks ago, and we're just talking about the idea of how they want to do that for other people. Like, if the Ridge Oak Creek didn't exist in the first place, who knows where their marriage would have been? They probably wouldn't be married this time. And so now they get the opportunity to do that for others, and they're just all in. It's just cool to think about.
You think about impacting a community, and the word community sounds big, right? But it really means these families that are now staying together. You know, now that they have this hope that they didn't have before. How much does proximity to like a geographic location play into that?
Yeah. Statistically, we know that people are going to drive about 15 minutes to a church. Your unchurched people are even going to drive the people that don't attend a church are going to drive even a little shorter distance to that. And so for us, when we take a look at, okay, where are we planting churches? Where are we planting campuses? Geographic plays a huge part of it, because we know that here then in Greenfield, you only have that rough proximity of about 15 minutes. So you can continue to build, the Taj Mahal of churches here, right? We can continue to make it as big as we possibly can. Yeah. You know what I mean? But we're only really going to impact a 15-minute radius. And so that's really, the amount of people that we can reach from our community. So when we look at where we're going to plant the next church and campuses, and especially when we're looking at Oak Creek area, we know that it's roughly within the 15-minute area that we're at right now. But then now we get to have another 15-minute radius from that spot. And so there's another kind of circle that's impacted from there. And so that's how we do it when we look at locations, and we're looking at it because we know that proximity is just, it's that 15-minute radius around there. And especially when we're looking at our new location being right off the freeway, we know that 15 minutes grows because of having access to a great freeway system like we do there.
Yeah. Can you tell me why we pick the campus model? So like, as far as like planting new churches, there's lots of different philosophies and thought processes and all those things. And not saying that anyone is more right or more wrong, but we've chosen to use the campus model. Can you explain why?
Yeah. And for us, I think one of the things that's newer in this area, you don't have a lot of churches that are multi-site, which means that you have multiple campuses or multiple locations, but you're still one church. You know what I mean? So it's newer to the area. So it's something that I think is easier to get people excited about. They're excited when there's something kind of new that you're trying. But it's also really because we have a heartbeat here at the Ridge to continue to reach more people, to bring that hope of Jesus into more homes. And we want to do it all within how we do service, how we do church, how we develop leaders, how we bring people up within our system. And campusing is the ability to be almost like, a feeder program for baseball, you can say, right?
Yeah.
We want to have an impact, not just into the new communities, but how we're bringing people up through our own systems and we're helping to grow people and allowing them to be able to grow in how they express their faith and how they express their leadership. And so campusing allows us to bring people up like myself, who was walked through the door of our church at one point, not a Christian, became a Christian here, and then has a calling into ministry where now I can go and be a pastor at a campus and lead a location, but don't have to be my own church. I'm not my own church. I love the Ridge. I want to be a part of Ridge. I want to reach more people. So it allows us to kind of use our own benches, our own systems, to continue to reach more instead of just planting churches saying, okay, go fly, baby, fly. And, go in and go do your own thing, which we still believe in. I think that's 100%. We'll support people that would do that. Yeah. But we know we also have people that are part of the Ridge, that share the DNA of the Ridge, the vision of the Ridge, and then want to go reach more people together. Yeah. And that's what campusing to us is about. It's about us to be able to do this together with multiple locations and multiple leaders just working for the impact that it can make in Southeast Wisconsin, which is where we believe we're called to do.
Yeah, we talk a lot about how different churches are uniquely gifted to reach different people. Which is super valuable. It just showcases like the community that follow Jesus and the body of God. And like, just because they're not in a 15-minute radius of Greenfield and they want to attend a physical location doesn't mean they can't be a part of that. That the Ridge is still uniquely gifted to reach those people. And so expanding a campus allows, I feel like the continuation of doing that. So part of launching a campus is you get a launch team. Can you tell me a little bit about what a launch team is and what makes them so special?
Yeah. So the launch team is, it's a team of people that are dedicated together to not only just starting a church, right? So it's a bunch of people that are from that community. So in order to be on, let's say, the launch team of the Oak Creek Franklin, we want you to be a part of that community. So people from that community who are dedicated, not just to trying to figure out how we get services started, which is a part of it. We got to figure out, okay, how do we actually, produce services, especially in the grade school being portable, but it's more about it being a heart of people that just want to be on a sacred journey together, that are going to reach the people of their community and allow Jesus to work in them, to do that. And so that's what the dedication is about. It's not just about launching a church. It's about, how do we reach more people in our community together by launching this church, right? The church is the vehicle. It's not necessarily what we're trying to do. It's just a vehicle for us. So we've got people that they know that they can't invite their friends, their neighbors, their coworkers, their ones to Greenfield, because some people may be coming from Racine or, someplace that's 40 minutes away from this campus. And now being a part of a campus where they're 10 minutes from their house, now they get to invite their neighbors, and it's so much easier for that. So it's about a group of people that are just on the sacred journey together. It says, okay, we want to do this together. We want to reach more people together. And part of that is producing services and making sure that we're in groups and we're doing everything that's a heartbeat of our church down in that community.
So you call it a sacred journey. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, I think it means that when you're connecting, first of all, you're connecting with like-minded people from our same community. So the connection that we develop as a team together is just really powerful. Yeah. But through that, you're going to connect with God in just a unique way, because you're doing his work. And so as you are connecting with God, you're growing closer to him. Your heart is growing more towards his heart. And so that's what the sacredness of it is you just get to watch, especially for me, I get to watch people use the giftings that God has given them to reach people in the way that maybe they've never thought of using their giftings before. So for me, that's a sacred part of it. Then when they're on the journey, I think they get to be a part of that, and they get to see God push them and grow them, and use them in unique ways. And then they get to watch the people that they've impacted, the people that they reach, and they get to watch the people they've invited change. They get to watch life change happen in the people of their community as they go on that journey together. So those are kind of all the sacred components that I see of it.
Yeah. And that's something that you got to experience, right? You experienced that sacred journey. That's a part of your story, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's a part of the reason I am here. And it's also a part of the reason that I'm excited to go do this again, because I think I get to now take people that I've seen grow, and we get to use them in new gift, get to use their giftings in new ways. And it's just amazing.
Yeah, dude, we started off by saying like, hey, why are you launching a church? Why do we need new churches? And I mean, through the course of what we're talking about, like even just sharing it right there, like, oh, you have a chance to impact and bring hope to a community. You have a chance to dramatically improve your own faith journey and connection with God, and utilize the gifts that he's given you to impact and love people well, and change the hearts of people, or help God change the hearts of people. Man, that's pretty compelling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Okay. So say somebody's listening right now. They are in the Oak Creek, Franklin area. All right. How do they become a part of this?
Yeah. I mean, the easiest thing is to text launch to our phone number, or you just email me. Just shoot me an email, Forrest, Forrest, at theridgecc.com. You can email me.
That's
and
good.
I'd love to have a conversation with you and just talk you through what does that mean? I mean, there's a lot of aspects to it that we have as a commitment to it as well. It's not just coming and partying with us or just being doing all the fun stuff. There's a lot of hard work to it. Like we're building a church and we're planting a church. But it's an exciting and sacred journey we're on. So just contact me, man, or contact you, John, whoever, and just get them to me. Yeah. And we'll sit and have a conversation about it.
I also really appreciate that you said that, it's hard work, fun work, amazing, rewarding. But aren't like the best things that we do in life really are like, those are the hard work things where you see from the ground up things grow. And it's not easy to impact and change the hearts and just love a community well. And yet having a chance to be a part of that doesn't come around every day, And so that's really cool and powerful. Yeah. I will put in the show notes different ways to contact and be a part of it. But yeah, thank you, Forrest. Is there anything else you'd want to share, or if I could?
No, I mean, I think for me, dude, it's like, if you're in those communities, if you're in my community in the Franklin, Oak Creek area down there, come on this journey with us. Cause one of the coolest things that you'll get to experience, and one of the sacred aspects of it, is being a part of a team that, one day we get to look back and say, okay, I was a part of the team that launched this church, which made this impact in my community. And then I can say that I got to be a part of that. And I want you to be on the journey with us. I want you to be on the journey where you get to one day look back and say that you were a part of that. And you allowed God to use you in that way. And man, it's going to be an amazing journey. It's going to be fun, but it's going to be a lot of hard work, but we're in it together.
Dude, well, I'm super, super excited that you guys are doing this, and know there's going to be lots of effort and stuff going in there, but your heart, like I can just hear the excitement and just the passion that's coming from you. And if I was an Oak Creek fan, I'd want to be a part of that team. But thank you so much. Thanks for come back. Thanks, man. Thanks for coming on the podcast. Thanks for chatting about this and sharing your heart and just some of the things and the impacts that God's going to be doing and through you and the launch team. Well, that was my conversation with Forrest, and I think that I'm just left reflecting on the concept of what a church is. It's not a building, but it's a community coming together to grow with God and impact the greater community around them. Whether you join a church plant, a launch team, which check out the show notes for details on that if you want to do that, or you just stay with a church you're a part of, step into making an impact with the way that you love the people in your community through serving and other opportunities. Well, thanks for listening to this episode of the Ridge Podcast, and make sure to subscribe and follow so that you don't miss any hopeful and helpful conversations.